I'm giving up this racket. I'm going to Chicago to sell life insurance.
Well, you've always been a good guy, Wendy.
Yeah.
What time did you say that train was leaving?
Oh, in 10 minutes.
You'll be missing me, Wendy.
I sure will.
Don't let anybody pick your pockets.
Don't worry, nobody's going to touch me.
Good evening. It's Charlie from Silence to Talkies with the next episode in a series during which I will investigate why a silent star's talkie stardom did not stick. This episode will focus on William Haynes, who entered the talkie era at #1 at the box office, but will retire in just 4 short years. Billy, as Haynes liked to be called, has enjoyed somewhat of a career renaissance in the past 20 years, partially due to the efforts of his fantastic biographer, film historian and journalist William J. Mann, who wrote Wisecracker in 1998. I highly recommend it. Overall, folks have become more aware of Billy's life, career, and work over the past 20 to 30 years, and there's even been a musical written about him. The main reason for this renaissance is the courage that Billy showed in 1932 when he, as a gay man, refused to be in the closet and refused to leave the love of his life, Jimmy Shields, just to fit MGM's definition of what a movie star should be. Billy refused to deny who he was and be anything but himself. In a time of censorship and the dawn of the production code, this defiance was unheard of. In fact, Billy was the first openly gay Hollywood movie star, something he was brave enough to be while countless peers were afraid to come out of the closet. You may be assuming that Billy's refusal to conform and hide his true nature may have had something to do with his early retirement from the movie world and his sudden loss of talkie stardom in 1932. And you are correct, but naturally, there was much more to it than that. Let's go back to the beginning and find out together why Billy opted to leave a life of talkie picture stardom. Charles William Haynes was born on January 1st, 1900. According to Haynes himself, he was a true child of the 20th century and was born on midnight as the new century began. He was born in Stanton, Virginia to George Haynes, a cigar maker, and Laura Matthews Haynes, his wife. He was the third child born, but the first to survive infancy. Billy often claimed that he came from 2 fine old Virginia families, which was true, but his family, while they had historically been living in Virginia for several years, they have always been middle class. He was named Charles after his grandfather, but was almost instantly known as Billy as a child. Eventually, Billy was the new oldest child and had 2 younger brothers and a younger sister. From an early age, Billy was known as a scamp, someone that made people laugh by pulling pranks and cutting up. Billy said later, "I've always said that William would be one of 2 things, either a great actor or a great scamp." He was eternally up to tricks of every conceivable kind, not mean tricks, but those full of real mischief and fun. This mischievous persona of his would go on to come in handy for his acting career in the future. Billy remembered loving movies from an early age, as it gave him his first glimpse of life outside of Stanton, Virginia. He got his first taste of stardom, if you will, when he appeared in his school's production of The Mikado. According to Mann, Billy played the role of a flower when the 3 young divas regaled the audience with their rendition of 3 Little Maids from School Are We. An envious Billy stood in the wings and accompanied them in a voice that ranged from bass to soprano. The dramatic coach grabbed him by the seat of his pants and tossed him out into the alley. Billy loved hamming it up and, well, being a scamp, for lack of a better word, but he also loved to be funny. Sorry, 1 second while I fix my camera. As I said, this humorous scamp would come to define his screen persona as well in the 1920s during the heyday of his career. Another common type of character he played was a sports hero, but Billy made no qualms about not being a sports fan in real life at all, even at a young age. When he was 14, Billy ran away from home, first to Hopeville, Virginia, where he reportedly operated a boarding house, which may or may not have also included a brothel, and to New York City for good. He lived with a gay couple in New York and got to see a stable homosexual relationship between 2 men that both defined themselves as married. According to Mann, this friendship was a pivotal point to Billy, who, as a gay man himself, saw it possible to live as a stable, married life as a homosexual. By March 1922, Billy had won a New Faces contest and won a contract with Goldwyn Studios in Hollywood. But just like Corinne Griffith, there were a few different accounts of how that happened. One story said that Bijou Fernandez, an actress turned talent scout, saw Billy walking down Broadway and said, "I like your face," to which he replied, "Me too, but it ain't mine. I'm breaking it in for a friend." Another story said that Billy was modeling and was being photographed at a studio when another model recommended that he enter this New Faces contest for Goldwyn. Still another story had Fernandez calling him and trying to stop him from going home for Christmas so that he could do a screen test. Whatever happened, he won the male category of the New Faces contest for Goldwyn, and along with Eleanor Boardman, the female winner and future close friend, he was at Goldwyn Studios in Hollywood by March of 1922. According to Mann, Billy had no particular ambition to be a movie actor, but winning that contest was truly fateful, and he knew it. Billy leapt at the opportunity and accompanied Eleanor to Hollywood. When he got there, it took a while for Billy to get work. Eleanor was almost instantly promoted as a new star and quickly began getting good roles. Not so for Billy, who was offered extra work, which resulted in the 1922, which resulted in a role in the 1922 House Peters vehicle Lost and Found on a South Seat Aisle, in which Billy also served as a star stand-in. In 1923, he was finally given a speaking role in his friend Eleanor Boardman's star-making vehicle, Souls for Sale, which co-starred Billy's other close friend, Barbara Lamar. A very, very witty satire on the film industry, Souls for Sale involved Eleanor's character, humorously named Remember, Mim Stedham's rise to stardom in Hollywood. It also co-starred Richard Dix, Lou Cody, Mae Bush, and Aileen Pringle. Billy, while only on the screen for a little over 4 minutes, was still memorable as Pinky, the assistant director. Take a look at this clip. It is brief, but Billy brings a vitality and presence to his character, even when he has little to do but cut up and agree with his coworkers. For its lack of screen time, Pinky led to Billy getting cast in larger supporting roles, such as Gordon in Three Wise Fools, again with Eleanor. Studio publicity began advertising him more and more. He was a new juvenile actor, handsome enough to contest the laurels of the long-established favorites, as one source said. Billy also did something right again as Gordon, one of Eleanor's suitors in Three Wise Fools, as the publicity increased. However, he again was handed 2 small supporting roles after this, first in the 1923 Aileen Pringle vehicle, 3 Weeks, and True Steel, another Aileen Pringle vehicle. But Billy's luck was about to change. In 1924, Columbia, a small studio at the time, asked to borrow Billy to play the male lead in The Midnight Express, opposite star Elaine Hammerstein. In the film, Billy played Jack, a son of a rich railroad owner who after being disowned by his father for his laziness, decides to work on the railroad, eventually capturing an escaped convict and winning the heart of Mary, played by Elaine. The film proved to be a hit and the breakout starring role for Billy. It also got him his first real reviews from a major news outlet, including the New York Times, which said he was acceptable but a little too clean when he was working. And Variety, who said that Billy was the outstanding member of the cast. He looks to have everything a leading man of the screen should have. Columbia has a star on their hands if they can hold on to him. Actress Peggy Hopkins Joyce also told Screenland magazine that he gave the best kiss she had ever seen on the screen. Midnight Express survives today in the Cinema Italiano collection. After it wrapped, Billy was called back to his home studio, which recently had merged with Metro to become Metro Goldwyn Mayer in 1924. He first supported Mary Philbin as another suitor to a young lady in The Gaiety Girl, before being cast opposite Eleanor again in Wine of Youth, as another suitor that competes with Ben Lyon for Eleanor's hand. This time, though, he was the arrogant and more obnoxious of the suitors, who ends up not getting the girl. As you see here, he is so full of himself that he has no problem going up to her tent to see her at night while dressed in only a swimsuit. Billy enjoyed making Wine of Youth, but it did not do much to further his career or get him any closer to playing leads while at MGM. He next supported Mae Murray in Circe the Enchantress, Jack Gilbert in Eleanor, and The Wife of the Centaur, before returning to Columbia to play leads again in 1925, in A Fool and His Money opposite Madge Bellamy, and Who Cares opposite Dorothy DeVore. He finally got top billing that year at Columbia in Fighting the Flames, also co-starring Dorothy DeVore again. Reviews were getting better. Variety said of A Fool and His Money, although stiff once or twice, Haynes has a Harold Lloyd-like face that suits the role, meaning he's good at comedy. For Fighting the Flames, Exhibitor's Trade Review said, William Haynes is highly pleasing. He looks the part he portrays and renders a sympathetic performance. Mann goes on to say that Fighting the Flames was even more important because we see again a hint of what was to come. Billy as the irresponsible, wisecracking youth who learns his lesson and redeems himself just before the final fade out. Billy began finding his niche, playing these humorous young men that are impish cut-ups which harken back to his own antics off the stage all those years ago in The Mikado. Major stardom would soon come to Billy, though, through playing such roles, but there were a few more stops he had to make along the way before his stardom was more definite. Stay with me for Billy Haynes Part 2. Thank you.